All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Gunmala Kapoor. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterates any discussion with Pakistan will be bilateral. US President Donald Trump says he agrees with India's stand. Minority Affairs Ministry team to visit Kashmir from today to identify the areas for implementing central government's development projects. Reserve Bank to transfer 1.76 lakh crore rupees as dividend and surplus reserve to the government. Over 5 lakh local water conservation infrastructures developed in more than 250 districts by Jal Shakti Abhiyan during the last 2 months. Hundreds of new fires flare up in the Amazon forests of Brazil, even as G7 nations pledge to help combat the blazes. Cash awards announced for badminton players PV Sindhu and Praneeth for their stellar performances in the Badminton World Championship. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has categorically rejected any scope for third-party mediation between India and Pakistan on Kashmir, saying the two countries can discuss and resolve all bilateral issues. The Prime Minister yesterday met US President Donald Trump on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Biarritz, France. Both leaders discussed various issues. Talking to media, the Prime Minister said that India has bilateral issues with Pakistan. He said that both countries should fight jointly against poverty and work for the betterment of the people of both countries.
भारत और पाकिस्तान के सारे इश्यूज बायलैटरल हैं और इसलिए हम दुनिया के किसी भी देश को इनके लिए कष्ट नहीं देते हैं। मुझे विश्वास है कि भारत और पाकिस्तान जो 1947 के पहले एक ही थे, हम मिलजुल करके हमारी समस्याओं पर चर्चा भी कर सकते हैं और समाधान भी कर सकते हैं.
Talking to media, President Trump said he agreed with Mr. Modi's view that issues between India and Pakistan are bilateral in nature. Mr. Modi wrapped up the visit by addressing the session on digital transformative technology, furthering innovation and promoting digital payments. He highlighted the efforts of India towards eliminating single-use plastic, conserving water, harnessing solar energy and protecting flora and fauna for a sustainable future. India's prominent stand on protecting the environment, climate and digital technology was lauded at the G7 summit. The Prime Minister also met other world leaders on the sidelines of the summit. Mr. Modi returned home this morning after completing a hectic trip to France, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. Our correspondent covering the Prime Minister's visit has filed this report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit gave a thrust to India's closer ties with partner countries and also rejuvenated old ties by signing of memorandum and agreements. Mr. Modi's exceptional accomplishment was lauded by conferring of the Order of Zayed by the UAE, the launch of the Rupee card and the release of the commemorative stamp from Mahatma Gandhi symbolized the importance of friendship in the Emirates. Thousands of non-resident Indians living in these countries were enthused, proving that the route where they belong was important to them. Joy, AIR News, Delhi.
A team of the Minority Affairs Ministry will be on a 2-day visit to Kashmir from today to identify areas to implement the central government's development projects. Due to Article 370 and other reasons, several developmental projects could not reach the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The team will assess the need of opening schools, colleges, skill development centers, hospitals and other facilities for the development of J&K and Ladakh. The team will also prepare a comprehensive report on the possibilities of social-economic development projects in the region. Deputy Commissioner Srinagar, Dr. Shahid Iqbal Chaudhry, yesterday reviewed the updated status of stocks received in Srinagar and the status of distributions made to consumers. Divisional Commissioner Kashmir Bashir Ahmed Khan said that there is no shortage of life-saving drugs in government hospitals of Kashmir and that the government is taking necessary steps to assist hospitals in case of any shortage. More from our correspondent.
Medicines worth rupees 32 crore have been supplied to Kashmir Valley during the period July 20 to August 23, 2019. Moreover, there are around 40 outlets operational under Prime Minister Jan Aushadhi Yojana scheme in Kashmir division, catering to those in need. Meanwhile, about 30,000 LPG cylinders have been home delivered to consumers in Srinagar during the last 4 days. Government has already released 11,000 quintal of rice for Srinagar district for the month of September. R.K. Rana, AR News, Jammu.
In Karnataka, Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa yesterday allocated portfolios to 70 newly appointed ministers and among them named 3 as Deputy Chief Ministers. The ministers had been inducted into the cabinet nearly a week ago. Among the 3 Deputy Chief Ministers, Mr. Govind Karjol has been given charge of PWD and social welfare, while Ashwath Narayan has been entrusted with the portfolio of higher education, information technology and biotechnology, along with science and technology. Another Deputy Chief Minister, Lakshman Savadi, has been given the transport department. The Mumbai police have registered an FIR against senior Nationalist Congress Party leader and former Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar in the Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank scam. He, along with leader of the Peasants and Workers Party, Jayant Patil, and some functionaries of the Cooperative Bank, have been booked for allegedly causing losses to the tune of 1,000 crore rupees between 2007 and 2011. Last week, a bench of Justices S.C. Dharmadhikari and S.K. Shinde of the Bombay High Court had directed the Economic Offences Wing to file an FIR as there was credible evidence against the accused. The Reserve Bank of India has decided to transfer 1.76 lakh crore rupees as dividend and surplus reserve to the government. In a statement issued from Mumbai last evening, the RBI informed that this amount includes over 1,23,000 crore rupees of surplus for the year 2018-19 and 52,637 crore rupees of excess provisions identified as per the revised Economic Capital Framework. The statement informs that the RBI Central Board has accepted the recommendations of a high-level panel headed by former RBI Governor Bimal Jalan on transfer of excess reserves to the government. Over 3 crore 70 lakh people have joined the nationwide Jal Shakti Abhiyan launched by the government last month to enhance water security, especially in water-stressed districts. During the past 2 months, the initiative has delivered over 5 lakh local water conservation infrastructures in 256 districts. Cabinet Secretary Pradeep Kumar Sinha yesterday reviewed the work done so far under the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. Here is a report from our correspondent.
Jal Shakti Abhiyan is aimed at making water conservation and promotion of irrigation efficiency a mass movement through asset creation and communication campaigns. Out of 5 lakh local water conservation infrastructure, 2,73,000 are water conservation and rainwater harvesting measures. Over 44,000 relate to rejuvenation of traditional water bodies and about 1,50,000 are reuse and recharge structures. Government had appointed over 250 officers as in charge of water-stressed districts in the country to plan ways to conserve the natural resource. Naveen Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
Hundreds of new fires have flared up in the Amazon in Brazil yesterday, even as military aircraft dumped water over hard-hit areas and G7 nations pledged to help combat the blazes. 2 C-130 Hercules aircraft carrying thousands of liters of water yesterday began dousing the fires, which are devouring chunks of the world's largest rainforest, which is seen as crucial to keeping climate change in check. Experts say increased land clearing during the months-long dry season to make way for crops and grazing has aggravated the problem this year. The United States President Donald Trump has said he was prepared to meet his Iranian counterpart Hassan Rouhani in the next few weeks after talks over Tehran's nuclear program at the G7 summit in France. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif made a surprise appearance on the sidelines of the summit in Biarritz at the invitation of French President Emmanuel Macron. Mr. Macron said that the conditions for a meeting between Trump and Rouhani had been created through intensive diplomacy and consultations. At a joint press conference with Mr. Macron, President Trump said if the circumstances were correct, he would certainly agree to meet. The Badminton Association of India has announced a cash reward of 20 lakh rupees for PV Sindhu and 5 lakh for B-side Praneeth for their achievements in the BWF World Championship. Sindhu became the first Indian to win a Badminton World Championship gold by beating familiar rival Nozomu Okuhara of Japan in a lopsided final at Basel, Switzerland on Sunday. Praneeth won a bronze and became only the second Indian men's singles player after the legendary Prakash Padukone to win a medal at the championships. India's top-ranked men's singles tennis player Praneeth was yesterday knocked out in the opening round of the US Open Tennis Championship being held in New York. Praneeth lost steam after a confident start against world number 5 Daniil Medvedev. He lost in straight sets 4-6, 1-6, 2-6 to the Russian, who recently had vanquished multiple Grand Slam winner Novak Djokovic. ISRO has released more pictures of the lunar surface, which were captured by India's lunar craft Chandrayaan-2 last Friday. Terrain mapping camera 2 on board the orbiter of the lunar craft has captured a set of images from a distance of over 4,300 kilometers above the moon's surface. They show several craters and the coldest region of the moon at her north pole. Earlier, on the 22nd of this month, the camera on board the lander of Chandrayaan-2 had also sent an image of the moon. The 7th Community Radio Sammelan will begin in New Delhi today. The 3-day conference, being organized by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, will witness participation of all operational community radio stations across the country. The theme of this year's event is Community Radio for Sustainable Development Goals. The program will also witness a discussion on various flagship schemes of the government like the Jal Shakti Abhiyan and efforts for disaster risk reduction. And now for an overview of today's newspapers, it's over to Sunil Verma.
Thank you, Gunmala. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump's talks on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Biarritz yesterday are highlighted by newspapers this morning. Prime Minister tells Trump Jammu and Kashmir bilateral issue, no role for third country, is the Asian Age headlines. The Mail today headline reads, How Modi Trumped Pak. Hindustan Times reports that the centre plans to intensify Aadhaar enrollment in J&K, particularly in the Kashmir Valley, where penetration of the unique ID is very low, so as to ensure transfer of subsidies and benefits of welfare schemes reach all residents. The Tribune says that in keeping with the Narendra Modi government's policy to weed out dead wood and corrupt bureaucracy, the government has compulsorily retired 22 tax officials accused of corruption and other malpractices. Since June, this is the third round of sacking of corrupt tax officials. Economic Times writes, buoyed by the government's move to withdraw additional surcharge on foreign investors and steps to revive the economy, stocks cheer Finance Minister's steps. Indices stage biggest gain in 3 months. And finally, the Times of India quotes PT Usha saying, Sindhu has what it takes to win Olympic gold next year. And with that, it's back to you, Gunmala.
Thank you, Sunil. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterates any discussion with Pakistan will be bilateral. US President Donald Trump says he agrees with India's stand. Minority Affairs Ministry team to visit Kashmir from today to identify areas for implementing central government's development projects. Reserve Bank to transfer 1.76 lakh crore rupees as dividend and surplus reserve to the government. Over 5 lakh local water conservation infrastructures developed in more than 250 districts by the Jal Shakti Abhiyan during the last 2 months. Hundreds of new fires flare up in the Amazon forests of Brazil, even as G7 nations pledge to help combat the blazes. Cash rewards announced for badminton players PV Sindhu and Praneeth for their stellar performances in the Badminton World Championship. And with that we end the morning news. Have a nice day.